Hello and welcome to the Coastal Edge Consulting channel. I'm Melissa Kettler. Today I'm going to be talking about something a little different, but is very valuable in today's climate. In recent months, I've spoken to quite a few leaders, and I've been asking them about how they're integrating AI tools into their leadership or into their workflow. Surprisingly, many haven't used AI at all, and amongst those who are, many are not leveraging the tools like they could to make their work much easier, and also to make their output much stronger. As we know, leadership comes with a lot of responsibility. You're coaching your team, making decisions, working on strategy. You're buried under an avalanche of emails, reports, administrative tasks, HR work, meeting prep, documentation. It just goes on and on and on. That's where AI tools like ChatGPT, Grok, DeepSeek, and Microsoft Copilot, for example, can really ease some of that administrative burden. They're not here to replace you as a leader. They're here to take some of that busy work off of your plate so you can focus on what really matters, your team. Today, I'm going to share 10 practical ways leaders can use AI to reduce that administrative burden. Plus one bonus tip for those who might be a little bit more savvy when it comes to using AI. I'll even give you example prompts that you can use so that you can try it right away. Number 1, drafting professional emails. So, as a leader, I've spent so many hours trying to craft an email, editing to make sure the tone and the content is perfect for the audience, wordsmithing the email to death, and sometimes even sharing it with somebody else, another colleague, to get their input and feedback and maybe some suggested edits. That's a lot of time invested that could be saved by using an AI tool. At least use it for your first draft. The prompt example might be, write a professional but friendly email to my team, reminding them that Friday's report deadline is firm. Keep it concise and encouraging. Now, remember that you'll likely have to make some adjustments to it to reflect your own tone, but this will save that painful blank page moment and will produce a draft that isn't riddled with spelling errors, grammatical errors, or extraneous words that don't add any value to the email. I particularly like to use AI when drafting an email to an executive because sometimes the tone really needs to be different, and so I will specifically put that in there. Because obviously a tone to an executive might be very different than the tone that you might need to use when you're sending an email to your team members. Here's example number 2, summarizing long documents. Depending on the type of role you're in, you might have different types of documents that you need to get through quite quickly, and potentially skim reading even takes up way too much time. So let's say you get a 20-page report. You really don't need every detail. You just need the essence of what's in there. So here's an example prompt you could use. Summarize this 10-page policy into a 1-page briefing note for leaders. Highlight key changes, risks, and required actions. This is great for board reports, HR policies, or industry articles, maybe even to summarize a legal document. Whatever the case, this will definitely save you time and energy. You can always go back in and look for specific things if that's what you're searching for, but this will actually save you a ton of time. Tip number 3, creating meeting agendas. This is probably one of the easiest things to use AI for. You don't need to wrestle with Word to create these agenda templates or a structure. Here's an example prompt. Create a 1-hour team meeting agenda focused on 3 goals: reviewing project progress, brainstorming solutions to delays, and clarifying next steps. This helps to keep the meetings on track and also communicate structure to your team. Tip number 4, turning notes into action items. I would say the majority of leaders spend quite a bit of time in meetings, and we end up with a lot of meeting notes that sometimes we have to either summarize, or sometimes we have to take those meeting notes and either create some semblance of order to them, or we're reading meeting notes and just trying to understand what the content of the meeting was. What's the most essential things that I need to know? Messy meeting notes can easily be turned into a clear task list. Here's an example prompt. Here are my meeting notes, and then paste in your text. Turn these into a structured list of action items with deadlines and owners. So this will turn chaos into clarity really fast. Tip number 5, brainstorming ideas. So this can be used for a number of different things. Number 1 being potentially you're looking for some input on an idea or a strategy. So I have spent in the past a lot of time talking to colleagues and trying to get their input. But if you think about it, then I'm wasting their time too. Well, not necessarily wasting, but I'm taking time out of their day to help me with something that I need help with. Now, yes, that's good for building those collegial relationships, but if you're really on a time crunch, maybe ask AI to help you with that. I also use it for brainstorming things such as team building ideas. So if you're trying to figure out a way where you can energize your team in the next team meeting, AI can be a really good brainstorming partner. Here's an example prompt. Give me 10 creative icebreaker ideas for a remote team meeting that only takes 5 minutes and I don't want it to feel awkward. Even if you only like 2 of the suggestions, you've saved yourself about an hour of Googling different ideas. Okay, tip number 6. We're moving along fast. Drafting policies and procedures. So sometimes these can be so painful, especially if you're starting from scratch. Why not let AI do that first draft for you? It can at least provide you with a framework. So here's an example prompt. Draft a first version of a remote work guideline for employees covering expectations for availability, communication, and accountability. So of course, you're still going to refine it. But again, AI will save you from that blank page and probably save you hours and hours of initial work. Tip number 7, supporting performance reviews. So most leaders have to do this annually or sometimes even biannually. And if you have a large team, this is actually going to take a significant amount of your brain power, energy, and definitely time. And leaders often struggle with how to provide constructive feedback in those performance evaluations. Here's an example prompt. Write 3 versions of constructive feedback for an employee who delivers good work but often misses deadlines. Keep it professional, balanced, and specific. So here we go. We're going to use that type of prompt for inspiration. You'll have to edit it, of course, because you want to make it personalized. And you definitely want to adapt it to your own voice and based on the relationship you have with the employee, but it will definitely save you time. Tip number 8, creating templates. Reinventing the wheel really wastes time. AI builds reusable formats. So if you're not aware of it, it can actually create a format that you can reuse over and over again. So for example, here's a prompt that you might be able to use. Create a template for a weekly project update email that includes key metrics, risks, and next steps. So once you have a few good templates, you can reuse them forever. Tip number 9, training content and scripts. This is something that I've used ChatGPT for quite a bit. I've even used it to build my PowerPoint outlines. But here's an example of where you might be able to use it. If you need to run a short session, for example, AI can create slides, talking points, or exercises. Here's an example prompt. Outline a 30-minute training session for new supervisors on how to run effective one-on-one meetings. Include learning objectives, activities, and sample questions. So there we go. You can actually add other sections, just tell it what it is you're looking for and what the outcomes are, and then it will actually build you that outline in PowerPoint. This will cut your prep time in half. Tip number 10, delegating your own workload. Yes, this one is probably going to be surprising for you. Ironically, AI can help you figure out what you should stop doing. Here's an example prompt. Here's my weekly task list, and then you would paste it in there. Categorize what I should keep, what I could delegate, and what I could automate. This forces you to think strategically about your time. It's a great way to get you started on where you might be wasting your time and energy. Here's a bonus tip for you. So, actually, it's a combination of a number of tips, but they'll definitely help you if you've never used AI tools before. Build custom workflows and practice tough conversations. So, if you're already comfortable with using AI, here's where it might get more powerful. I'm going to share how I use ChatGPT. So, I have folders set up and I continue with different prompts in that folder. And then that way, ChatGPT will remember everything that's been done within that folder in previous conversations. So that way you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. So that's kind of a user tip. But the other thing is you don't have to use one prompt at a time. For example, you can create a leadership assistant knowledge base. What you would do is upload your organization's values, sample communications, or policy documents, so it can draft things in your tone and context. It can also automate repetitive workflows. Connect ChatGPT with tools like Zapier, Notion, SharePoint, Jira, Trello to automatically summarize meeting notes, build reports, or generate reminders without you lifting a finger. Yes, it has that ability to integrate different apps now. I think there are over 300 that you can add into ChatGPT. Here's an example prompt. You are an employee on my team who is resistant to change. I need to explain why we're shifting to a new reporting process. Push back with objections, and I will practice responding. So this turns AI from just an admin assistant into a leadership development tool. So there you have it, the 10 or 11 ways that you can use AI in practical ways as a leader. The key takeaway here is AI isn't here to replace your job. It's definitely not here to replace the human side of leadership. It's here to give you the time and mental space that you need to focus on what really matters, your people, not your paperwork. I encourage you all to go away, give it a try, put in a few prompts this week and see how it turns out. And remember, leadership is a journey, not a destination, so keep on striving. That's it for this week. If you liked today's content, I would love it if you could hit that subscribe button, give me a like, leave me a comment, and come back for future videos. I'm glad you're here. Take good care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.